The Murdoch family has gone from famous to infamous. Now, for generations, they basically ran the justice system in this small county in South Carolina. But now, there are all these dead bodies to account for, connected to one of them in particular, Alex Murdaugh. So we go back to 2015, okay? You have teen Stephen Smith dies in a supposed hit and run, very odd in this area. And the eldest son of Alex, Buster, is implicated. The investigation seems to be a little manipulated. 2018, the Murdoch housekeeper dies, Alex, his housekeeper, falling down the stairs in his home. He then offers money to the family. Why? And the investigation into her death seems to get rushed, and it's unclear why and how she actually fell. Then 2019, the youngest Murdoch, Alex's youngest son, Paul, drives the family boat drunk, ends up killing his friend Mallory Beach. His family of lawyers immediately jumps in, and again, the investigation seems pretty light. Now to June 7th, 2021. Alex, he's the family patriarch, right, is in all this trouble in his law firm. Maybe it's addiction problems, maybe he's just a thief, but he's got all these problems at the firm. Money's missing. Okay? The same night that it winds up coming down on him, his wife and youngest son, Paul, the one in the boat accident, shot to death. And he's there and offers these weird ideas of who'd killed them and why. I'm telling you, I've never heard anything like so much being connected to one guy. Prosecutors eventually arrested him for the murder of the wife and son, but there's a lot more to the story. Now, just yesterday, they released what they believe to be his motive, and it's a very interesting dynamic going on, and it's going to come to a head in a big trial, and we'll all be able to watch it. So let's discuss. Matt Harris, host of the Murdoch Family Murders podcast, and criminal defense attorney Sara Azari. Sara, first, let me just deal with something from my lawyer head, which is usually you don't mess with motive, certainly before a trial. What is going on here, and what makes it interesting?
Well, I think what's interesting, Chris, is that these, the Jay-Z song, 99 Problems, he's got 99 pending criminal charges that are financial, money laundering, tax evasion, theft from clients, theft from his brother. And these are all pending charges. They're not adjudicated. And there's always been this talk about what does this have to do with the murder trial? What's happening? And of course, his argument at trial is going to be he's being sandbagged by state and federal government, and they're coming after him, they hate him, etc. But the idea here is, Chris, that the stuff that these charges that are coming in, this is inadmissible evidence that would not otherwise come in, but it's coming in through a back door to show motive, that he was in great financial debt, that he was in financial ruins, and that he was stealing, basically, and then deflected this, murdered his wife and son to deflect from the financial and fraud investigations against him, essentially self-preserving, and put the focus on this murder, pretending like it's somebody else. That's the idea. Now, you look at plausibility. You always say we know what you show, right? Plausibility in this context, you have to take it within the context of the evidence and also likability, because likability matters. So with the evidence, we know he was at the crime scene. There's blood splatter pattern on his clothing. There's DNA. He made some stupid comments at the scene about, who may have killed his wife and son related to the boat accident. And now it's pigeonholed him into having to explain that away. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is he looks like one of the most nefarious defendants before this jury because of all the stuff that's coming in. And if they don't like you, they're gonna, find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they do like you, then they'll give you the benefit of doubt. So that's the issue with this type of motive.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting play by the prosecution, Matt, because everything I said in the introduction, as Sarah's pointing out, a jury may never get to hear. So this is an interesting little device. Now, you've been following this on this podcast because of just how layered it is. And what do you want people to know about just how much activity this guy Alex Murdaugh is connected to that could be potentially criminal?
Oh, as you heard from Sarah, there's not some 99 counts. He's stolen 9 million plus. We still don't know where all the money went. And the tentacles from Alex Murdaugh and some of the other Murdaugh family members run deep into the justice system. They run into law enforcement. And as you mentioned, the mysterious deaths that are tied to Alex Murdaugh's family. if you went to explain to somebody this story, it would just blow them, like it would just confuse them because there's so many things going on. As you said, you've been doing it 25 years, and the depth and the amount of information is absolutely insane and hard to keep track of. It goes one way and zigs another way, and it just continues to change.
What is it that you know about this guy, what you've learned, that makes you think he was capable of killing his own wife and son?
Well, I think that is going to be a little bit of a struggle for the prosecution because they have all these white-collar crimes, which were terrible. He was taking advantage of people who, in most cases, didn't know any better, or in one case, Trooper Moore, who was a state trooper for 20-some years. He took advantage of people who weren't 18 yet. He took advantage of one of his victims was paraplegic and deaf and died in a car accident. So he took advantage of these people, making them trust him. So that is a evil kind of dude that's stealing money from those kind of people. But you still, the prosecution is still up to going to make that leap from him doing all that and shooting his son point blank in this small area, point blank in the head. That is where they're going to have to draw that line, and that's why they want to bring in all these financial crimes, which the state or the defense doesn't want to be entered into.
To have it make
evidence.
sense to people about how, because it's going to be hard, Sarah, to believe, it shocks the conscience. But I'll tell you, when we talk about privilege, people throw that word around all the time. But this is like the Dukes of Hazzards on steroids. I mean, all of these different investigations just happen to be short-circuited. Why the maid fell down the stairs, the hit and run with this guy in an area where there are never any hit and runs, the boat accident, all leads back to this family because why were they able to get so much stuff done? What kind of power did they have?
Well, yeah, Chris, and you know what? There's a lot of dots to be connected that this jury has to connect. But, to your guest's point, I think if I was a prosecutor, I would also argue that, look, every time Alex Murdaugh needs money or has a money issue, he picks up the gun. Because remember that botched suicide? That was all for life insurance for his son, right? So there's something there. There's also a connection there that he resorts to sort of fatality. When there's a need for money. And yeah, rich people have, sick problems, and that's going to have to be believable to this jury, which I think is not going to be that difficult given the demographics.
I didn't even mention, that's how messed up this story is, that I didn't even mention this time when we were talking about this, that Alex Murdaugh brought in his cousin or something to shoot him in the head and kill him. And the guy missed. Yeah. And grazed his head or something like that. And now he's getting prosecuted as part of this insurance fraud situation. I've never seen a story like it. I can't wait for the trial. Sara Azari, thank you as always. The best for the holy days. Matt Harris, keep going. We'll be talking again. Thank you both. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All right.